Hey guys, welcome to the webinar for 50 plus fitness body comp fixes. Today we're going to talk about what the problem is, different versions of it, and opportunities to improve that makes sense for us, the 50 plus athlete. A little bit about me. I have a master's in exercise physics and sports nutrition, and I've been a fitness trainer, a now strength and conditioning coach through National Strength and Conditioning Association. I started my business in 1998, and I'm 62, and currently about 11% body fat, maybe live 11 and change, not 12 plus, but also not 10. Okay, so let's talk about it. So what is the root problem? The root problem is failure to reach and maintain an ideal body composition. And let's talk about what that is for you in terms of goals. So your body composition can be ideal for form or aesthetics, and that's the look. So you look great in a bathing suit or, shirt off, pictures at the beach, whatever that might be for you, even at the gym, I guess. And then for function, which is really more what's the optimal body composition for your sport or fitness activities of choice. Now, the challenges are similar. There's overlap, but they're different priorities. So challenges for form are to maintain a particular look, achieving and then maintaining a particular look in terms of muscularity and leanness. And the main variables that you can manipulate are, because the genetics and age and even gender factor into it. The main variables that you can manipulate with some substantial results are your protein levels, your calorie surplus or deficit, and of course, if you're trying to lean down, it is a deficit, but within a reasonable range. We'll talk about that in a little bit. And then micronutrients. I think vitamins and minerals are largely overlooked, except as a secondary consideration after the food groups of vegetables and fruit. But super important for a more complete and productive recovery, so that you, over time, are getting the most out of the workouts and the rest. So, activity and water levels also very important. And of course, this shouldn't come as news to you, but managing all those elements simultaneously, that's where it gets tricky sometimes, although there are ways to make that, to simplify that and make it a lot less cumbersome. So we can talk about that as well. So for maintaining, for ideal body composition for function, is the priority would be to maintain adequate energy levels and to achieve and preserve ideal strength to body weight ratio for performance of your given sport. And in some sports, if you're, say a rugby player or a power lifter, you're going to want moderately higher to significantly higher body fat than, say, a tennis player or a cyclist. So that's important to take in consideration. And as a reference point, I gave you the reference points, the ranges for fitness competitors and bodybuilders. For NCAA 20 to 29-year-old athletes across all sports, average for men is 15%, average for women 20%. So that gives you an idea of the difference in body fat percentages that are ideal for form or function. It's rare that they coalesce to be the same thing. So be clear on what your goal is, and what's a reasonable target and timeline and all that. And we'll talk about that as well. Okay, so So you want to maintain, ideal strength to body weight ratio for performance and recovery. And let's talk about the fixes. Okay, so the first step is you want to figure out what's my game plan here? What exactly am I trying to do and over what period and what's reasonable? So the first fix, if you're not already doing this or if you haven't done it, this is super important to do, is two-part. First, assess the delta between your current and goal body composition. So and then let me give you the second part first, second part next. The second part is to multiply that percentage delta just in terms of integers by 1.5, and that will get you to weeks, the number of weeks to reach your ideal body composition. So let's give a couple of reference points. Let's say you're pretty close to where you want to be already, and you're only looking to lose 3% body fat. So let's say you're 15, you're trying to get down to 12. So since that's a 3-point delta, it's really reasonable for you to expect, if you're doing everything right, to take about a month to do that. You're not going to be able to do that in a few days, and probably don't need 6 months to do that unless you really struggle with the principles and being consistent. And then let's say it's 10%, you want to lose 10% body fat. Let's say you're at 30 right now and you want to get down to 20, 3 months. So sorry, 3 months. So that's 10 weeks. So that would be 4.5 weeks per, and maybe 2 months. No, sorry, 1.5. So yeah, okay, 15 weeks. Sorry about that. My math in my head is a little tweaky. So 15 weeks, 4.3 weeks in a month. So, so that's 9 weeks in 2 months. And so another, 4.5 weeks. So, so I'd give it about 3 months to get 10%. Now, also understand that the further away you are from your goal body composition, the faster it's going to come off initially, and then it's going to slow down as you get closer to your ideal body composition, because your body does not want you to have inadequate fat stores for thermoregulation, for absorbing fat soluble vitamins. So you may have had some experience with losing body fat too fast and losing some muscle tissue, or having your blood sugar kind of all over the map. So it's really important that you are objective and realistic about the timeline. Okay, fix number 2. So you've figured out, let's say it's 5% body fat you want to drop, and that's 7.5 weeks. So really 8 weeks, round up, be so a little under 2 months. Okay, so you've got that. That's the goal. That's the timeline that you expect. Okay, so fix 2, optimize nutrient density quality. What do I mean by that? I mean specifically the concentration of protein, fiber, vitamins, and minerals for the volume of food you're taking in, and for, more importantly, the calorie count you're taking in. So what I suggest, based on the shortcomings I see in a lot of my clients over the years, is opportunity to improve the quality and variety and total gram count of protein. By far, in terms of food groups, not enough vegetables as a percentage of total intake. It really should be about 25 to 30%. If it's down around 10 or 12%, that's likely, if you're eating enough protein, that's likely your biggest sticking point. There's no food that's bulkier and more nutrient rich than vegetables by a long shot. So if you're eating adequate protein, spacing your calories out evenly, you're getting decent, mostly heart healthy fat, it's probably not going to be a big problem for you to steer your ship and make course corrections as you go, in terms of feeling comfortable in the gym and feeling like your blood sugar levels are stable throughout the day. I also recommend, besides getting adequate protein, and a lot of different opinions about that, but the International Society of Sports Nutrition, which is the premier sports nutrition organization, recommends 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight to 1.6 or more. So they have an open-ended top end. And really, research shows, although there is a tipping point with utilization, that if you don't have kidney issues or anything else that's been diagnosed that makes you more protein sensitive or makes it difficult for you to process protein, that a gram of protein per pound of body weight, even up to 1.5 grams per pound of body weight, is fine. The problem is you're not necessarily using that unless you're trying to put on a bunch of bulk. And even then, you may not need as much as you're taking in. Plus, it's just pretty difficult to get much more than 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight and still get adequate micronutrients through vegetables, protein, whole grains, and I prioritize in that order. Protein and vegetables are kind of even Steven for me, maybe just slightly more protein sources, and then veggies, and then fruit, and then whole grains. I usually only have 1 or 2 servings of whole grains, and usually earlier in the day, because I really want to focus on veggies and protein later in the day. Okay, so I also recommend plenty of water. How much water? Enough water to keep your urine pale to clear throughout the day. And that's just a really good organic and spontaneous way to keep an eye on it. And just talking about that makes me thirsty. And I recommend just a standard, maybe brand, well-known brand, 50+ formula multivitamin. There are certain micronutrients that we absorb less well as we get older, and 50+, like Centrum Silver, 1 a day, Mature, whatever the brand is, whatever the name is. A 50+ formula multivitamin mineral supplement. And then I also take creatine, and I have a research video on my YouTube channel, which you can check out. This is being running on my YouTube channel as well. Creatine is probably the most well-researched, widely used ergonomic aid and support of supporting a generally healthy, nutritious diet, and a lot of very promising research in terms of other health benefits beyond just what its primary fitness function is, to speed recovery and allow for some increased blend of frequency, duration, and intensity for strength training. Okay, fix 3. You need to hit the sweet spot between getting adequate protein and micronutrient density and a weekly calorie deficit. So let's say your goal, 200 calories or less of a deficit a day, pretty hard to track and make sure that you're doing that. More than 500 or 600 calorie deficit a day, you're really risking not having enough energy for your workouts and potentially eroding muscle tissue, depending on how meticulous you are about your eating and tracking all that. So I recommend shooting for a 300 to 500 calorie deficit per day. But I have found in my life that intermittent fasting works great for me. Again, you can look at the research summary video. I did a grad school project where I looked at all of the current research on creatine specifically for athletes in our age range. And sorry, I already talked about creatine. I did another research video on intermittent fasting for athletes in our age range, and that's on my YouTube channel as well. So that's worth checking out. So I fast. I do a liquid fast, just tea with milk or some brown tea, brown and black tea with milk or a little bit of cream 3 or 4 times during the day, and the rest kind of just clear liquid tea, water, Lapsang Souchong, which is a toasty flavored Chinese tea, green tea. I don't really do fruity teas for the sweetness. Really stay with kind of more, black teas. And white tea is fine, mint tea. So that's what I do 1 day a week. And I found that when I did a modified fast where I'd have maybe 3 eggs over the course of the day and some tuna in the afternoon, whatever, my blood sugar spiked and dropped more severely than if I just take the whole day, and really 2 sleep periods, so 36 hours to fast. That works well for me. I don't have to be as meticulous about managing every single day. And in fact, on the other days, in order to keep the muscle tissue, I have a pretty small frame. So to keep the muscle tissue and the strength that I have on my frame, I find it's easier to let myself go into a equilibrium or a slight surplus on the other days, but try to create about 15 to 1800 weekly calorie deficit, since on my fasting day, I'm taking in maybe 100 calories, probably not even that. And my caloric requirements run between 2,800 calories and 3,200 calories a day. So I'm figuring my net with that. It just makes the other 6 days easier to manage, and I'm less meticulous about that and less anxious about it. Okay, so you want to hit that sweet spot between getting adequate protein grams, and variety is a great way to get more protein sources and more vegetable sources. There's research to support the broader array of variety you have of a given food type, the more you take in, both acutely, so at a sitting, and chronically over the days and weeks. Okay, so that's all I have for you today. I'm going to give you an airline pilot analogy. I have taught you that to fly a plane, you need to understand and to be able to operate the instruments in the cockpit, but not the skills to fly. Yeah, that's the tactical level. What specific things, I've given you a little bit of insight to that, but what specific things can you do that maybe you're not doing, or that would have a substantial effect improving your overall success and your quest for results. That is available. I do want to take you a little further down the road, and so the next step, if you got anything out of this and you're interested in drilling down a little bit deeper, here's my offer. Go to the website, and there's a link for my booklet, which is kind of like a Cliff Notes, broader than I covered today, but more superficially. The Cliff Notes for eating priorities for the over 50 athlete. It's a $15 booklet, low risk, but I'm going to take that low risk out of the mix completely. If for any reason you're dissatisfied with it, let me know. I'll give you a full refund. No questions asked, guaranteed. Also, I will tell you that I offer a digital, self-guided digital course for best practices for eating for the over 50 athlete. And that's if you purchase that, then I will give you that $15 for the booklet back. It's part of the digital program, so I don't want you to have to pay for it twice. And then the top level, the VIP level is the 20-person max, once per quarter group coaching program, extensive interaction. You have complete access to me. I've been really thrilled about how people have responded and the results they've gotten from it. And if you take that and you bought the digital course already, the digital course is part of the coaching program, so I will refund you the price of the digital course if you take the coaching program. So hopefully that's helpful, and thanks for hanging with me, and I look forward to hearing from you in the future.